Hello and welcome to District32 Business Radio slot. We're looking up. We've got Kristy-Ann Waugh, who's a superb business consultant and coach. So you're very welcome.
Thank you, Dean. Great to be here.
So just give us a brief insight around the business, what you do, and maybe some of the typical kind of clients you've worked with in maybe recent times.
I would love to. And in fact, that's a far more measured approach than I had recently when I was interviewed, Dean. The first question was straight out of the gate with the interstate journalist recently. And his question was, so, Kristy-Ann, you once received a prognosis of 24 hours to live. Tell us your story and how you learnt to master your mindset. So I'm really grateful for how gentle you've been.
That was my next question.
So essentially, I am a coach and therapist. I have my own coaching and therapy consulting practice. In terms of a pitch or the way I would position myself, I would kind of say to a client or a prospect, are you consistently achieving your specific and desired dreams, goals, and objectives in career, in business, and in life? Okay. Are you crippled by procrastination, self-doubt, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome? Okay. Do you suffer from limiting beliefs, fears, phobias, trauma keeping you stuck? Okay. I am Kristy-Ann Waugh, coach, speaker, therapist. After 20 years of experience working with executives, leaders in their teams, and 1,200 client-facing coaching and therapy hours, I effectively work with individuals to overcome or to break through such unresourceful thoughts, patterns, and behaviours, enabling them to consistently achieve those specific and desired dreams, goals, and objectives, moving them from where they are to where they want to be in career, in business, and life.
It sounds so transformational, which I suppose it is.
Absolutely, and it's such a delight. It gives me so much meaning and fulfillment to go on these particular journeys with these clients. It's not, in a training environment, it can be somewhat transactional, but this is a really personable, transformational, empowering experience.
Okay. And share with us, what was your background before kind of getting into the current arena that you're in? What was your background?
So I had a 20-year multidisciplinary background nationally and internationally, cross-functional, so had worked across many industries, learning and development, utilities, top 4 financial firms, et cetera, working quite closely with executives, leaders and their teams. I guess the defining moment, if you like, was, I had flourished in this achievement, ambition-driven world, but it got to a point where, it started to lack meaning. There was a bit of a values mismatch, no ego, no remuneration, no benefits any longer gave me the fulfillment and meaning that I was seeking. A lot earlier in my career, I referred earlier, I received a prognosis of 24 hours to live, which clearly I survived because I had the pleasure of sitting here with you today, having doubled my years. But that was the catalyst into self-help and personal development. So I did everything from, I'm a practitioner of positive psychology, a coach consultant, a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, a master practitioner of timeline therapy, of gestalt therapy, of hypnotherapy, training and assessment. So I have, essentially collated all of these knowledge, skills and lived experience and transitioned from the achievement, ambition-driven world into the more meaning, fulfillment-driven world, enabling and facilitating transformational change in my clients.
It sounds like you've obviously had some outstanding experience professionally and personally, and you've kind of supported what you're doing now with obviously some outstanding qualifications as well.
Yes.
Very good, very good. And so you've probably touched on it, but what was the motivational factors that pushed you to kind of go, okay, I'm going to launch my own business? And I know you've touched on values. Was there other factors that inspired you to kind of launch as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So apart from seeking more meaning and fulfillment, I think it was in and around that. I was seeking more meaning, personal meaning and fulfillment, but also saw that, I had always been a high achiever, but a very quiet achiever. Okay. And a lot of people had referred to me as the force behind. And I was quite naive to think that in a leadership team of 9 people in a department of 180 in an ASX-listed company of 3,600 people, that I was creating an epic impact. My circle of influence was in fact quite small. And I knew that for me to make a difference to the magnitude that I desired, that I needed to take another path. Okay. And that was to become an entrepreneur.
Okay. And when did you launch the business? How long
So I transitioned full-time into my own coaching and therapy practice 2 years ago at last month, actually.
Oh, congratulations.
2019. Thank you.
Okay. And I know, I think anyone who's launched their own business, it's frantic, definitely in year one and year two, I'm sure, as well. So early days, what's been the biggest learning for you in the first 2 years of your journey so far?
I guess the biggest learning or the biggest challenge, if you like, was the word that comes to mind is glossophobia. Okay. So glossophobia is the fear of public speaking or social anxiety. Right. So again, I realized that, it was all well and good to be a quiet achiever hiding behind a corporate logo, but to realize and accept and acknowledge that my face is my brand. People follow people. This is the profile economy that I needed to step up, speak up, and lead. So that meant overcoming my fear of public speaking and being able to articulate who I am, what I do, and the difference I make in the world clearly and succinctly, so the right people, my target market, could find me. So that was one of my initial challenges.
Okay.
Yes.
And you seem very comfortable in that space now, so you've obviously overcome that obstacle.
I certainly have. And in fact, I work with a lot of SMEs, a lot of entrepreneurs, leaders, speakers, influencers in a speaker capacity. So really helping them to amplify their confidence and certainty and charisma in and around presenting their product, their service, or their message to deliver it with impact, with influence and authority. So it's quite interesting the way that what was once a fear is now a strength of mine. Yeah.
Which is brilliant stuff. And I mean, that leads really well into my next question was, I suppose when you launched, what was your kind of understanding, I suppose, around branding and marketing and the importance of it? Was that something you were aware of, or is it something that you've kind of become aware of since the business launched?
So yes, and so when I did my business degree, one of my majors was in marketing.
Oh, very good.
However, 15 years ago, what were the 5 Ps of marketing are now 7 Ps of marketing. And Dean, I'm sure you would appreciate that 15 years ago, social media didn't exist. Yeah. Online visibility didn't have the level of impact it now does. So it certainly has been a learning curve for me.
Very good, very good. And I suppose from my discussions with business owners over, say, the last 6 years with District32, and even previous as a consultant myself, what I found is generally business owners are brilliant mechanics of what they do, whether they're website providers, accountancy, but they tend to struggle in that kind of business development and sales role, particularly when they start. Is that something you find a challenge, or are you comfortable in that space, business development and sales?
I find it a really great opportunity to connect. And from a sales perspective, I don't see it as sales per se, Dean. I see it as service. If I build rapport, if I ask the right questions, I can find a genuine need in a prospect or in a lead, and then effectively link that to a product, service, or offering that I provide, enabling them or providing a solution to their presenting pain point, problem, goal, or objective. So it's a space that I'm reasonably comfortable in. When we talk about marketing, we have high touch and high tech. So high tech is all of your networking, is the conversations, is the seminars and what have you. And I find I'm very comfortable in that space. That is my lane. I can speak to my strengths, I can speak to my credibility and to the transformational change I create. And people essentially have a mini experience of what it is that I offer. The high tech space, however, so I've had quite a successful, thriving coaching and therapy practice in my first 2 years. And I attribute it to the high touch because I had no online visibility. And in fact, I'm currently going through that process. My website will be live next month.
Brilliant stuff.
Which is very exciting. And, greater numbers of clients or prospective clients will now be able to find me.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make as well, because I suppose talking again with business owners and business leaders, they tend to find maybe the interpersonal stuff a challenge more than the techie stuff. So you've gone the other way, which I think a lot of people, particularly in the startup phase, you have to, because budget constraints and you're trying to get your head around the tech and get websites up and running. So it's a really good starting place to work on your networking and obviously meeting people as well.
And I was really, really fortunate. In my first couple of weeks of transitioning full-time, I managed to acquire 2 top-tier retainer clients.
Oh, brilliant.
So that kind of gave me a fixed income stream around which I could peg my one-on-one and small groups of 1 to many. Beyond that, I would say, 100%, if not they're the best part thereof, came through referrals and came through credibility. So I was very fortunate early on. I just now recognize that there is a demand, that there is a need, and that, not only am I doing myself a disservice, but my prospective clients a disservice by not having that, official online visibility.
Okay. And so say in terms of taking the next 12 months, what are the biggest challenges? Is it that techie kind of high tech space you mentioned? Is that the biggest challenge?
Yeah, so it will be the online visibility. It will be obviously maintaining and honouring my priorities and my boundaries as I scale, which is inevitable, and expanding the team as required, and avoiding that infamous burnout.
Yeah. which is fairly common as well with business owners as well.
Well, when we're so passionate about what we do.
Exactly. So you've touched on, obviously, I suppose, scaling your business. You're looking at the high tech. So as you kind of look forward, maybe to short to medium term, is there automation or systems you kind of look at and you're looking to embrace, obviously, to enhance what you're doing already?
Yeah, so as part of my website launch, a lot of that will be integrated into email sequences, et cetera, CRM integration. So we have looked at that, and that will all be swept up together in the same process.
It's such an important aspect, isn't it? Kind of leveraging off that kind of CRM system and the automation.
Absolutely. Relationship management is the game that we're playing. It's about making connections and really nurturing and amplifying the quality of those connections. In business, the follow-up is king.
Yeah, 100%.
Follow-up is critical to our success. People won't buy from us or from any business until such time as they get to know, like, and trust you. So I think those regular touch points with clients, engaged clients, from a retention strategy, but also from an attraction strategy, is critical.
Exactly. And I think probably you've obviously launched with that interpersonal, that touch base with people, meetings, where the high tech, as you said, will amplify your audience as well.
Yeah, more sustainable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've touched on, say, a comfort zone, which was obviously the public speaking. And again, for all business owners, we need to obviously step into our comfort zones to grow personally and also to grow professionally. Is there particular comfort zones are challenging you at the moment, that you're outside of the public speaking, which you seem to have conquered?
Outside of the comfort zone, and being the coach that I am, outside the comfort zone is where the magic happens. Yeah. So it's about continually stretching those boundaries and identifying and recognizing that, in fact, there is no glass ceiling. And the moment that we define a limit upon ourselves, that is our limitation. Our limitation is the extent to which we think we can achieve something. Like, who are we being? What are we doing? What are we having and creating? So I wouldn't say any specific challenges apart from the online visibility at this point.
Okay. Well, look, maybe is there a piece of advice you'd like to share in terms of on the comfort zones, particularly? I mean, I think what you mentioned there, public presenting, and I know even from networking, many business owners find even doing the 60-second elevator pitch challenging. Is there a tip you could share, maybe in overcoming those obstacles?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I have found, in my own journey, and also working with a lot of people in and around overcoming their fear of public speaking, is physiologically, biologically, the only difference between apprehension, inertia, anxiety, fear, and excitement is your breath.
Okay.
So your breath is one of your trump cards. Your breathing is one of your best friends. So just pause for a moment, and you find when you're anxious, you're breathing high and shallow in your chest. If you breathe down into your diaphragm, that will automatically bring you into a more congruent, aligned state. The other thing is, in terms of managing your nerves, is to recognize that it's not about you. If you're anxious, it's likely that the individual is in their head. It's about ego.
Right.
It's about, fear of, is this going to land? Is it going to resonate? Am I going to fail? Am I going to succeed? The moment you shift that focus, that energy outside of yourself, and really focus on the value that you're offering to your audience, to your listener, to your viewer, all of that anxiety, dissipates. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So that'd be two of my top tips.
Brilliant. I appreciate the share there as well. You've had a lot of success in a short period of time, 2 years. I mean, I suppose even before we met, I'd heard about you, and obviously Lorraine spoke really highly of after meeting you the first time. So what would you attribute your success today to?
That's a great question. I've actually had some testimonials a number coming through in recent days. And there are a lot of themes in and around my authenticity, my integrity, my grace, that sacred space, that trust that I create with my clients and with my networks.
Yeah. I think your enthusiasm and positivity shines through as well. So
yes,
I think that could be a contributing factor.
Yeah.
Obviously in District 32, you'll be aware, we discussed BHAGs there in January, big, hairy, audacious goals. So can you share what was, for yourself, what is your BHAG at the moment?
So my BHAG, and in business, we've got to be bold. And I was actually posed this question recently. So my BHAG is to positively impact 1 million lives in the next 10 years.
Okay. That's definitely a BHAG.
It is a BHAG, but, through multiplistic thinking, through various sources. So I will have my one-on-one coaching, my one-to-many, my speaker gigs, intellectual property. I'm going to pen a few books due to high demand, hypnotherapy recordings. There's multiple income streams that I can leverage to touch greater numbers of people.
Okay, just watch this space.
Watch this space.
So, you mentioned there being bold in business, and your BHAG is definitely ticking the box there. When you look back at, say, the first 2 years of business, could you give us a couple of examples where you kind of said, when you reflect on milestones of where you've demonstrated being bold?
Absolutely. So I guess one of the biggest transitions or challenges I overcame in transitioning out of my corporate career into being entrepreneurial or a startup was, a lot of Europeans value job security and financial security. As a sole trader, as a entrepreneur, you don't necessarily have that certainty. So learning to embrace vulnerability, learning to trust the process, to learning to believe in myself and my capability was definitely some learning curves.
Okay. I love the way you've mentioned there, embracing the process, because I know even from a sales point of view, even discussing strategy and processes with business owners, they tend to fall off the wagon and not stick to them. So it can be a tough one just to actually embrace that process of whatever aspect of business it is as well.
Absolutely, Dean. And something that I'd love to share and something I've overcome is, being quite resourceful and quite independent. I've always had a belief, do it alone, but the power is in connection. The power is in collaboration. If you want to be a model of excellence, model excellence. Who is it in your industry, in your profession that is thriving? And elicit, what are their values? What are their beliefs? What are their attributes? My father used to say to me, if you want what someone has, do what they've done.
Yeah, okay.
So embrace these people. A beautiful quote by Jim Rohn is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So surround yourself by the right proximity that are going to support and enable you to actualize and to bring that BHAG to life.
Brilliant stuff. And I suppose I have to finish off on a question. Obviously, you're 2 years in business, but that's backed by a lot of experience, both professionally and personally. So there's probably people listening who are thinking of going on an entrepreneurial journey. They're obviously probably genius at what they do, whatever industry or sector it is. But what would be the best advice you could look to share with someone thinking of starting the journey as an entrepreneur with their skill sets?
Get a coach. Get a therapist, break down those limiting beliefs, those fears, those phobias, because people need what you have.
Yeah. I think it shouldn't be underestimated as well, the value of having a coach or consultant, because I think when we all go into business, we're generally really good at what we do. But there's so many aspects to business we're not aware of, and have that kind of sounding board to give you that bit of direction is so key to success.
Absolutely. And I have coaches and mentors. To be successful, accountability in business is the difference that makes the difference. It's all well and good to have a BHAG, to reverse engineer it, to create short, actionable, achievable goals and milestones. But sometimes we're challenged. And that's when those unresourceful thoughts, patterns and behaviors come up, creating a stuck state. So having that accountability can have a profound impact at the speed at which you achieve those small incremental milestones or those actionable, achievable goals, and or achieve your longer term goals.
And I think anyone in business or even in sport, they always kind of mention the value of having a coach or consultant has impacted on their business. So finish on that. So Kristy-Ann, if someone's looking to get in touch with you, what's the best way, the easiest way of touching base with you to get more information on the outstanding services you provide?
So you can email me at KristyAnn at KristyAnnWaugh.com. I'm also opening my books, and as an opportunity, as an expression of my gratitude for the opportunity to sit with you in this interview, Dean, I am offering 3 30-minute complimentary discovery calls for those who are looking for transformation or change in career, in business, and or in life. You could also contact me through the District32 network.
Brilliant stuff. And also check out Kristy-Ann on LinkedIn as well. I always enjoy the content being shared as well. So Kristy-Ann, listen, many thanks for coming in today and sharing some insights. We're very grateful.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Such a delight. Thank you, Dean.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.